I play so badly now. I'm all out of practice. I haven't touched a piano in so many years. I used to love the piano. I worked so hard at my music in the convent, if you can call it work when you do something you love. Mother Elizabeth and my music teacher both said I had more talent than any student they remembered. My father paid for special lessons. He would have sent me to Europe to study after I graduated from the convent. I might have gone if I hadn't fallen in love with Mr. Tyrone. If you think Mr. Tyrone is handsome now, you should have seen him when I first met him. He was a great matinee idol then, you know. Women used to wait outside the stage door just to see him come out. You can imagine how excited I was when my father wrote me and told me he and James Tyrone had become friends, and that I was to meet him when I came home for Easter vacation. I showed the letter to all the girls, and how envious they were. My father took me to see him at first. It was a play about the French Revolution, and the leading part was a nobleman. I couldn't take my eyes off him. My father had said we'd go backstage to his dressing room right after the play, and so we did. I was so bashful. All I could do was stammer and blush like a little fool. I know he liked me the first moment we were introduced. I was really very pretty then. And he was handsomer than my wildest dream. He was different from all ordinary men, like someone from another world. And at the same time, he was simple and kind and unassuming, not a bit stuck up or vain. I fell in love right then. So did he told me afterwards. I forgot all about becoming a nun or a concert pianist. All I wanted was to be his wife. But I must confess, James, I never would have married you if I'd known you drank so much. I remember the first time your barroom friends had to help you to the door of our hotel room. We were still on our honeymoon. Do you remember? I had waited in that ugly hotel room hour after hour. I kept making excuses for you. Then I became terrified. I imagined all sorts of horrible accidents. I got on my knees and prayed that nothing had happened to you. And then they brought you up and left you outside the door. I didn't know then how often that was to happen in years to come. How many times I was to wait in ugly hotel rooms. I became quite used to it. Bearing Edmund was the last straw. I was so sick afterwards. I knew something terrible would happen. I knew I'd proved by the way I'd left Eugene that I wasn't worthy to have another baby, and that God would punish me if I did. I never should have borne Edmund. And that ignorant quack of a cheap hotel doctor. All he knew was I was in pain. It was easy for him to stop the pain. None of us can help the things life has done to us. They're done before you realize it. And once they're done, they make you do other things, until at last everything comes between you and what you'd like to be. And you've lost your true self forever. Let me see. What did I come here to find? It's terrible how absent-minded I've become. I'm always dreaming and forgetting. What is it I'm looking for? I know it's something I lost. Something I need terribly. I remember when I had it, I was never lonely nor afraid. I can't have lost it forever. I would die if I thought that, because then there would be no hope. I had a talk with Mother Elizabeth. She is so sweet and good. A saint on earth. I love her dearly because she always understands, even before you say a word. Her kind blue eyes look right into your heart. You couldn't deceive her even if you were mean enough to want to. All the same, I don't think she was so understanding this time. I told her I wanted to be a nun. I explained how sure I was of my vocation, that I had prayed to the Blessed Virgin to make me sure and to find me worthy. I knew that the Blessed Virgin had smiled and blessed me with her consent. But Mother Elizabeth said I must be more sure than that even, that I must prove it wasn't simply my imagination. She said if I was so sure, then I wouldn't mind putting myself to a test by going home after I graduated and living as other girls lived, going to parties and dancing and enjoying myself. And then, if after a year or two I still felt sure, I could come back and see her again and we would talk it over again. I never dreamed Holy Mother would give me such advice. I was really shocked. But of course I said I would do whatever she suggested. But I knew it was simply a waste of time. After I left her, I felt all mixed up. So I went back to the shrine and prayed to the Blessed Virgin and found peace again, because I knew she heard my prayer and would always love me and see no harm ever came to me, so long as I never lost my faith in her. That was the winter of senior year. Then in the spring, something happened to me. Yes, I remember. I fell in love with James Tyrone and was so happy. For a time,